Queen, and I am the rook. You are the fire, and I burn like a book. Don't know how this one ends till I die. And the honest part of reliable is the lie. The greater the power, the more the abuse. You are the hand, I worship the bruise. If romance is dead, I guess I'm a necrophiliac. But every god needs a sacrifice. I am the cross, and you are the Christ. So I drink.
Okay. All right. Great kids! Mothers of Mayhem and Extreme Horror Podcast. We are back. We are back.
Well, she's back with something cute, and I'm back. So sorry.
For those of you who are not watching on YouTube, I was just kissing the cheeks of the baby Mayhem. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you are in beholdence of her adorable, pudgy face.
She's precious. She's precious.
No, thank you. We call her Slore, and she likes milk and watching the Maury Povich show all day.
Kid after my own heart.
Yeah, I love her. We get
Except for
along real
milk.
good.
Except for milk. I don't like milk.
I'm not a milk fan. I'm not a milk.
And you're gonna find out why later on.
Well, we
Because
are so
Marian. Who are we interviewing today?
Oh, guys, we have been gone a while, and we have come back with a
In style.
vengeance. You are not gonna freaking believe this. You go ahead. You're the one who made this magic happen. You
I did
go
not.
ahead and
I
say
did
it.
not make the magic happen. But Mr. Edward Lee.
Edward Lee. Edward
Have you heard of him?
Lee.
Have you heard of him? I've heard of
I
him.
don't.
Have you heard of him?
I don't know her.
Like, does she even go to the school? Like, what?
Hold on, I gotta put the baby in the basket. It puts the baby in the basket.
And it doesn't get hurt. Or it doesn't get the hose. I don't know.
It doesn't get the hose again.
Okay. Pulling up the script because
How long have we been gone
Not
now?
really.
We've been gone for almost 3 months.
I have not been on since Harding, and that was in September.
And I have been gone since
October.
Yeah, October and November.
Yeah.
The last you saw us was Jeff Strand and the beautiful Bridget Nelson. Now here we are. Can you believe it? Coming back, season 2, second part, Edward Lee. This is just unbelievable.
Like, just how? Like, you know, for us, we had like Morrison, who was a unicorn. We never thought we were gonna get.
Right.
Harding. But like Lee, it was like a joke between us. Like, oh my God, if we could get Edward Lee, we would just be so, holy crap.
No
And then,
expectation of that ever happening. No
Yeah,
expectation
zero.
of that ever happening.
Have you seen this show? Like, anyone who says yes, And so we're like, he's never even seen the show. Like, he has seen our podcast. Like that.
That's the most surprising thing of all. Like, Edward Lee has actually listened to our podcast and thought that it was decent enough that he wouldn't mind subjecting himself
to sullying his reputation to be on this, whatever this is. Sully.
Well,
Sully.
while we were away on hiatus, while I was caring for this tiny new being, I was also getting an abundance of submissions for our season 2 charity anthology, which is Nursery Rhymes for Dumb Crotch Goblins, A Child's Garden of Curses. We got over 28 submissions for this collection. And I cannot believe it. We are working with Bloomhouse Publishing to make sure that this project is stellar. We are going to be choosing 15 selections to include in the final project. And most importantly, this is a project that all proceeds will go to Donate Life America on behalf of Mothers of Mayhem and in collaboration with the wife of Mr. Jay Wilburn, Jetty Wilburn. We will be giving all proceeds to Donate Life America in Jay's memory. And I'm just super excited. I'm super excited. We will actually even have a Jay Wilburn piece, never published before, included in the anthology. It is Jay's version of Jack and the Beanstalk, and I cannot wait for you all to read it. It's absolutely spectacular. So that is something exciting coming your way in the next few months, guys.
And she did all of this. Like, this is all Marian. I have literally not touched this. Like, just not.
It's exciting, and we're gonna have a good time.
So I'm psyched.
So
this
excited.
She's having 2 babies in a year. Let's just say 2 babies. So can I talk about some awesome books I've read?
Yes, please do.
Because I haven't read any since September.
Tell us.
What do you want me to start with?
Oh, I don't care. You start with
the one that made me cry, the one that makes me contemplate, or the one that I love the cover and all the stories?
Let's start with the one that made you cry.
Okay, so this gentleman was a recommendation to me, and I'm like, sure, okay, fine, I'll read him. This man will not only live rent-free in my head, but he will live rent-free tattooed on my soul.
Who is this?
Philip Lopresti.
Now, this is a name I've not heard before, nor have I seen.
Okay, so I'm an obsessed fangirl. He knows. It's not that hard to figure out. Can we look at this cover first off?
It's beautiful.
But turn it this way, and it looks like lungs and a face. Marian.
Who is the artist?
I don't know. Let me look. Let me see if I can find it. Because, why would I actually know that?
Awesome.
He did the cover art. Yeah. This gent. Okay, so this is A God of Flies Among Them.
Oh, I like the back too. Yeah, I like
beautiful.
Yeah, sorry for those of you who can't see it. It's really cool.
Yeah, sorry.
It's really
sorry
cool.
about your luck.
Yeah.
But this guy, I've read this one, and I read The Things We Bury. This guy, if Flannery O'Connor and Mike Innenbach had a baby.
Oh my.
Yeah, this gent. And he's so kind. Like,
is this new? Is this his very first job?
No.
Really?
No. He has some poetry that is unavailable because I think he's reworking it. So get that crack-a-lackin' for me.
Top.
I don't think you understand how annoying I can be, sir. Just ask all the authors I know. They know.
I will vouch for this.
Right. So annoying. But we're actually doing, because I do a buddy read for some of the Mothers of Mayhem people, and we're actually reading one of his stories in March. So if you want to get in on it. But I can't say enough about him. I am obsessed. He has this beautiful way of making everything so depressive and bleak, but it hits your heart in such a way that it's personal. And I don't understand it.
Say the name of the book one more time.
A God of Flies Among Them.
A God of Flies Among Them. And is this available on Kindle Unlimited?
Kindle Unlimited, no. I think the book's like $6.
Okay, so just paperback for now.
Paperback and Kindle. I think the Kindle's like $3.99, $4.99, and the paperback is $6.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
Then
awesome.
We're going to talk about another wonderful cover.
The Comfy Cozy Nihilist, a handbook of dark fiction. Ludwig.
Nathan Ludwig stole my heart with Love Potion. I actually have the sticker. Love Potion 666. And then he's like, hey, Christina, hey, you want to read this? And I'm like, because I was super annoying after I saw the cover, because that's what I do. And he's like, hey, will you shut up? Here's an arc. No, he didn't really say that. And I'm like, yes, I'll read your book. There is a story in here. I forget the title. Hold on. And it's about butt fucking clones. It's hilarious. I'd hit that. Oh my God. It's hilarious. It's like,
the clones do the other clones. The clones.
Oh yeah, yeah. The clone of the main character, like, yeah. And there's like orgies, and they're like sitting on the couch, like jacking each other off. It's hilarious.
I do me.
Right. It's a whole nother concept of go fuck yourself. You know what I mean?
That's great.
And then he's got one called Fuck Thanksgiving. That's a great one. That's a great one. Like, here's the thing with this one. There's not a bad story in it. And there's like 12, I think, in here. Me, the jury, I literally DM'd him and said, if you don't make this a novella, I'm going to riot and burn Alaska to the ground. And he put this just in, me, the jury, the novella is in development.
Oh, that's awesome.
So Lepresti, I'm telling you, I'm annoying. I get my way.
She gets what she wants.
I do. But seriously, not only the cover, but
I love the cover on that
story is, this guy rocks it. And he does one of my favorite things in the entire world. And he puts the story behind the story after every story. And I love that. Oh, and
I love it too.
And he adds a recommended film list.
Oh, now see, I'm gonna have to get that one. Is that available on Kindle?
I don't think it's on Kindle Unlimited. I don't think so. Think so. But I don't think it's too terribly expensive.
And say the title one more time for our folks who are taking notes, because there's people out
right.
Right.
Well, she said butt fucking clones. Of course I have to get this now. The Comfy Cozy, right? The Comfy Cozy Nihilist, a handbook of dark fiction by Nathan D. Ludwig. And he's like super sweet. He does signed copies. So get with him. He'll hook you up. Now, the last one, Marian and I talked about before. And I don't hate it. I want to start this out with, I do not hate this book.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how I feel about this book. And like Marian had said, I have read probably in the past year and a half, almost 2 years, I've read over 500 books in this genre. So I'm not a noob to it, but I ran into a book finally that I don't know what to say. And it's Spit Mask by Bill Baumkamp. It says in here that Bill passed away. I haven't fact checked that, so I'm not 100%. I don't know if it's part of the story. You know what I mean? And if he did, sorry. But here's what the back says. A violent gang member, a burnout drug addict, a controversial sex doll owner from Hong Kong, and an unemployed suicidal divorcee trying to be murdered all cross paths. And it's 37 pages.
So there is lore behind this book.
Possibly.
That Bill is potentially a real person who has passed away, and this is work that was found posthumously, published.
No, it was it says editor forward. All right, so this work was originally submitted to an anthology of transgressive writings that I was putting together. When the anthology didn't happen, I asked the author how he felt about making this a solo release, and he responded, "It's yours to do now with what you want."
And who released it?
It was released by Creative Destruction Press. So this is like a chapbook.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's see. I decided to put it out after the man behind the pseudonym passed away this year, that it should be put out. So, like I said, I haven't done the research, but
and it just came out this year. In the last few months.
I think so.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Interesting.
And here's the thing. In his like author thing in the back, it says Bill Baumkamp is a writer of experimental fiction. He will die and his writing will be forgotten. So I don't know. But here's
this feels very Blair Witch Project.
I know. So here's the thing. This chapbook, I don't hate it. First and foremost, I do not hate this book. I would not still have it if I hated it. I get rid of those. Trust me. I don't know how to feel about it because the deaths that occur, are they deserved? And the deaths that don't occur, is that deserved? And that's what makes you think, because this is very offensive in every shape and form.
From what you were describing to me, it sounded like it's basically just the most depraved behavior you can think of actual real humans engaging in.
Yes.
Outside of the realms of surreal, absurd, over the top stuff that we normally see in these books. Like, this is real stuff that actually is happening. And it's like the worst of the worst.
Yes. It's vivid. It's offensive. It's
a masterpiece.
Right. 5 fucking stars. Which it is 5 stars. And the reason why I give it 5 stars is because, like I said, as much as I have read in this genre and this community, and when I finally find a book that makes me go, if you make me stammer, you've got something.
5 stars. 5 stars. You either entertained me to the point of almost peeing my pants.
100, yeah.
Or you made me sit there and go, it didn't even have to be like the most brilliantly written. It didn't even have to be like fucking Shakespeare or Burroughs.
No. And that's
you
not...
made me sit there and be like, oh my God.
Right.
What?
I will say, I do not like trigger warnings. You guys know that. I don't like content warnings. But this is, I don't even know how to say it.
Essay of minors. Essay of, it's just got lots of, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. The bad things happen.
But I think it's an interesting book to start conversations. I do. I think it's an interesting book to start conversations. And that is what I'm looking for in 2023. I am looking for a book that makes me stop and think, number one, can I recommend this? Because I will recommend anything. Can I recommend this book?
Ooh.
2, did you make me?
You know what this is giving me vibes of? The Consumer by M. Gira.
Never heard of it.
It was a book that was written. You can't even find physical copies of it for less than several $100s anymore, but you can find digital uploads. I had to stop and walk away.
Yes.
Back because
but you kept reading. But you kept reading.
Because it was beautiful. And it was
this is not beautiful.
But
this is not beautiful.
It was written beautifully. The language is beautiful. The way he writes is beautiful. And it was fascinating and it pulled me in. But it was also so upsetting that I could not keep going. And it has very much of those same themes in it. The consumer is well known for its the minor stuff that happens to minors. So but it also had a lot to say.
Yeah. And I think
that and
I think, like I said,
conversation. This is like, it gets really weird. You get into this gray area.
And that's so yes. So if you
like, it brings up tough conversations.
Yes.
Like
it really does. It makes you stop and go, okay.
That's art, right?
This is an interesting segue into whatever. So if you want to pick it up, Spit Mask, it's like $7.50 as of today. I'm not sure when this airs. Hopefully soonish. They're having a sale. It's $5, and I think it's like $4 shipping. So you're gonna get it for under $10, and then you can DM me and be like, "How could you recommend such a book?
Where
psychopath."
Is that on Amazon, or do you have to go straight to the publisher?
You have to go through the publisher. Creative Destruction Press. Give me 1 second, and I can actually tell you who is attached to that.
Like you know what?
Josh,
when this episode goes live, we'll try to make sure that a link goes up on the Facebook.
Yes.
So for those of you who are interested,
right. Josh Benzo Frank.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if he's like the owner or he's like an editor-in-chief. I don't know what he is, but I do know he's attached to it. So he's super approachable. I actually DM'd him and was like, "Hey dude,
he's
this
also
book
in our group." So
yes,
we can get him on that too. Fascinating. What's the perfect book for you to be talking about on this episode when you consider who our guest is today? Because our guest happens to be the one person I think who opened the door for books like Spit Mask.
Yes.
You actually have a space and a community where it would be picked up by readers, because Edward Lee, I think, was the first one who had the cojones to actually start putting explicit stuff like that on the page and expecting people to pay money.
Right. Do you want to learn a little bit about Ed Lee as soon as I can find my notes? Would you like to know?
Tell people all about him.
So I got all this off of Wikipedia, so you could like find it on Wikipedia. Do you know that he was a municipal cop?
I saw that. I was reading the Wikipedia today too, and I was wondering. I wonder if Ed Lee wrote this. About
that would be so awesome. He's just like, "I'm gonna fuck with my fans." That would be so. That's how I imagine him laughing. I don't know why, but that's like, I'm off to fuck with my fans. Like that's how I see it. That's how I envision him. So that's he did a comic called Grub Girl, and it was made into like a porn. And
digging into that more, Grub Girl is a comic book that was put out through Verotic, which is Glenn Danzig's comic book publication company.
Yes, and you can find the first volume, which is like 36 pages, online. I don't remember the website, but I'll have it when this episode airs so I can shoot a link. And it didn't seem to like screw with my computer or anything, so it seems legit. I don't know. It was like free half porn. So if I get a virus, I get a virus. It is a risk I am willing to take.
We are still looking for the actual movie because apparently
so
film.
So I had a helper with this.
We are looking for it.
So I found a helper.
Okay.
And they helped me. It is on eBay for about $34. And there's 5 copies. I'm going to pick one up today because why not explain to my husband why I paid $35 for a porn? I'll just be like Glenn Danzig. He loves Danzig, so that should get me out of trouble. Can't let my children know the DVD's coming in because they love looking at all of my packages that come in.
I told Matthew about it, and he was like, "Danzig's not in it, is he?"
But did you know it was nominated?
That would have been okay before you got fat and old.
Right. So it was nominated. It was nominated for Best Video Feature and Best Actress, Brittany Sky, at the 2007 AVN. Now, if you're like me and not cool and don't know what AVN means, it means Adult Video News, I think, or network or something like that.
Yeah.
So just so you know.
Yep.
It was hip and happening.
Award worthy.
It was nomination worthy. It was nomination worthy.
Zombie porn from Glenn Danzig.
Right. So fun fact, in Header, which is available on Tubi for free, the ATF supervisor in one scene is reading Grub Girl.
Yes. Yes.
And we'll talk more about Header and Header 3 and all of that in a little bit. But yes, little bit of spice, little bit of.
Poor Stewart. Tell them more about Edward Lee.
Okay, so he worked as a night manager of a security company for 15 years. Thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
From a cop to night manager. Yeah.
I know a lot of guys like.
Yeah, my ex-husband did security, but he was also like 500 pounds. So whatever. Wow. 20-year-old Christina was fun. She was fast at. He all the stories I could tell you about Chrissy. He wrote under a pen name Philip Straker.
Yeah.
He wrote Night Bait and Night Lust, but asterisk, there's more. He has Philip Straker in some of his novels, including Header. He was the cop at the end that was trying to arrest Stu.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And he was he's in Goon that he wrote with John Peelin.
Oh, no, see, I haven't had a chance to read that one yet.
Okay, so I listened to the audiobook. Perfection.
Yes.
He served in the army.
Yes. In Germany.
Yes. And that's it. That's all I got.
There is not...
I focused more on his books because this man, the audacity of this man to continue to write so many novels, and I just find out about him, and then all the Easter eggs, and then I'm like, if you could see my notes.
He's been doing this for almost 40 years. Edward Lee has been writing for almost 40 years, and he has over 50 published works. And Christina managed to get through a lot more than I did because, I read Brain Cheese Buffet like back, and I had read Header, and I had read The Big Head and all that good stuff because they're classics. And then all of a sudden, Christina was like 2 weeks ago or something, was like, hey, we booked
BT dubs.
And so the absolute scramble to read as much as possible. And then, of course, going through them, I made the mistake of picking like every book he's ever written over 400 pages.
I think
because I only sleep like 3 hours a night.
Yes.
I waited until this week to read all of those. But yeah, I've gotten through about 21. Like how? How can we possibly? I can't. I know, right? I told Christina last night, I was like, my brain doesn't want to see words anymore.
Right. We have just, and it's so funny because I have executive functioning problems. And like I DM Marian was like, my executive functioning is not functioning. It just, no, because
it works in the mail room now.
Right. And it speaks to his writing where there is so much that can be found in every single one of his books. Like here's the thing. Okay, so I originally thought Morrison had the Easter eggs. Then I naively thought Harding had the Easter eggs. No, this is it. That's all I could do because I would have just broken down. I would be in a mental health. No, thank you.
So I was reading all these books back to back to back. I realized that there's this very specific style, and I don't know if it's just how my brain processes the way his brain processes it, like how his brain does this. But to me, when I'm reading, it's almost like he writes in as if he's writing out the conversation that's happening in his head.
Stream of consciousness.
It's stream of consciousness. It's happening in his head, and he's just like you said.
I made a note on it.
Tapping it right back down onto the page. And it's like the ultimate in storytelling. Like you're sitting across the table from him at the diner, and he's like, "You want to hear something fucked?"
Right. Hey, so I actually
I do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Let me grab some more coffee from this waitress that you're probably gonna have raped by Big Head, and we'll get into it. Like we got this. But I actually made a note of how he breaks the fourth wall. And that is one of my favorite things is when authors break the fourth wall. Talk to me, draw me in, let me know that you know I'm reading you. I love that. Love it.
Yes. Yes.
And he's like the king of it. What the pigs, the first line is Sissy looked at the shot glass full of pig semen and threw it back neat.
That's the other thing I wanted to say about Ed Lee. He is the king of the first line.
I wrote some down because I think the exact same thing. So this one's my favorite. And I don't know if you saw this in Gast, but the first line of Gast is Morris chopped the girl's hand off with a hatchet, then isolated the index finger and inserted it into his anus.
Bar. You open up an Edward Lee, you read the first line, and you immediately know whether or not this book is going to be for you.
Right. So, and then you've got the big head.
Yep.
Which is she stove the baby's head in with a cast iron skillet. The head burst like a pale ripe fruit.
Yep.
So
I read while holding my baby.
Right. I wrote that and I was like, I don't know.
Okay, no.
Maybe tomorrow. But just Marian knows what's coming, but she doesn't know. But I will be saying some of my favorite words or phrases of Lee's back to him. And Marian has not heard these, but I will be saying some of my favorite phrases, some of my favorite words for cum and for vaginas. Because
the clinical term human.
Yeah, no, I'm not. This is not a classy bitch. Let me tell you. Okay. The words that I am going to say during this episode, my mother will be ashamed of me. I told her not to watch this.
That's how you know it's going to be a good episode.
I told her, I said, do not, under any circumstance, watch this episode. And she's like, well, now I want to. And I'm like, frick.
Well, now I'm gonna.
Now it's gonna happen.
Well, all right, kids. The time is growing near. We will be back shortly, and when we return, we will have Mr. Edward Lee. Hang on.
Can you see me?
We can. Hello.
How are you?
Spectacular. I know. I'm trying so hard. I'm trying to act semi-professional at this moment in time. It's not working.
Thank you both very much for this honor and privilege. I appreciate it very much.
It's over here. Yeah, it's us. We are. Yeah, and every time I email him, I'm like, I'm really excited, and I try not to throw up as I'm typing that email.
All right. How are you all doing tonight?
Oh, we are fantastic. This is kind of unbelievable for us.
It is. It's like surreal. So it's kind of sinking in for us.
Yeah.
I'm no big deal. I'm just another swinging wang trying to make a buck in this business.
Well, you're probably the highest profile swinging wang that's been on this show yet. So.
Oh, okay, cool.
Honestly, all the way back when we started this, we had a list of dream authors that we'd like to talk to. And you were on that list, but you were the one person that we always were going back and forth with each other going, but that'll never fucking happen.
Yeah. We were like,
that'll never fucking happen. And now
we like to.
And we're like, what?
Yeah, it's a little surreal.
I'd seen some of your episodes before this, and then I watched Ryan Harding's, which was so top. So then I said, hey, I need to be on the show too.
That is amazing that you still made that decision after watching more than one episode of this show.
Especially that episode. Like, I'm so proud of that episode because of the research that went into it, and Ryan was on point, and I looked like a total fucking tool.
Yeah, he's dynamite. He's a character and a very smart, creative guy.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you known Ryan?
What's that?
How long have you known him?
I've known him since the mid '90s, I think. I met him. He was a fan of my work. On a message board, he would make some remarks that were positive, and from there we exchanged emails. I've known him since then. I mean, I think he was like 16 years old back then. But I don't know how old he is now, fucking 40s, but yeah, he was known him a long time, and this guy can, he's could be the best in the business. He's so writes the gross out better than anyone.
And you've been with him since he was basically a kid. That's kind of amazing. That's amazing.
To follow the journey.
Yeah. And now you have a couple to work together.
And we're still friends after all that time, and we tend to email back and forth about shitty horror movies. Like let me see. Like this one. Can you see this? Axe Grinder 3.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Yeah, Joe Sherlock, that doesn't get schlockier than that stuff.
Oh, I love it.
But
I love it.
Ryan and I are really into that off the wall stuff, and it's pretty shitty quality too. It's like terrible acting, terrible production, but that's what makes it better.
That's what makes it so beautiful.
Right? It's all the camp. Yeah, it's the campiness.
Absolutely. Yep. Before I got into books and before I realized that this whole world of speculative fiction, transgressive, splatterpunk, all of this stuff was a thing, the film was where it was at for me. I have a massive collection of old schlocky horror movies, rare, banned, cult from all over the world. Like, that's where I put all my energy before I found the books.
Well, see, I think that books are better. I think they take the reader into the experience more than the film takes the viewer into the experience. But you're right. There's nothing better than a great gross out movie.
You were featured in a fantastic gross out movie from 2009.
Well, I just found out about it that it got on Tubi yesterday.
Okay, so
segueing into our first question.
sorry about this because on Wednesday morning I was rereading Header, and I started with the foreword that Jack Ketchum wrote. And I got curious to see if I could find your 2009 film adaptation of Header streaming anywhere. And so I searched my Roku, and bam, it came up on this streaming service called Plex for free. And I was like, oh, damn. And I immediately turned it on because I wanted to watch the scene where you and Jack Ketchum play friends.
Standing over a topless corpse.
Yeah.
As soon as I found it, I messaged Christina, and then I went to a Facebook group that we're members of, and I wrote, Header is on streaming services, and I put screenshots, and I was like, go find it. And now all of a sudden it's been blowing up all over Facebook.
Oh,
that Header is out there, and I'm like, I don't even know if I can take responsibility for that, but I'm going to take full credit. That helps
a lot because, when a bunch of people watch it when it first comes out, it does something to the algorithms or whatever, but I appreciate that. And like I said, I didn't even know about it until John Balthasberger at Madness Heart Press told me he was going to watch Header tonight on Tubi. I spat out my drink and said, what are you talking about? And sure enough, it was there. Then I emailed the director and producer and said, why the hell didn't you tell me this was on Tubi? And he goes, I didn't know. So
that's wild. You guys don't get any notification when it goes to streaming services like that.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know how they did it. They got it into some company that brokers movies into streaming things. It's called Film Hub.
Oh, yeah.
And they did it, but they don't tell you, that it goes on. You just got to find out yourself, I guess. And that's fine with me. It's as long as it's available.
Going back to that whole concept of movies are one thing and books are a whole different experience. When I talk about splatterpunk and extreme horror books, people, I'm like, these books have stuff in them that filmmakers could never put on screen. Like, it's so over the top and violent and downright pornographic. Like, they can't put this on film. And yet we have a film adaptation of one of the books that I would have figured would have been the most unfilmable. How did this come to be? Because it takes mega balls for a filmmaker to read a book like Header and be like, I can make this a movie and it will totally not get an NC-17 rating or get me arrested.
Yeah, well, that's what when these guys contacted me, I didn't know them previously. They were guys from upstate New York, and they said, we want to make Header into a movie. And I immediately thought, okay, they're crazy. They have no idea, that you can't have a movie like that. So I signed the contract and took the money and said, okay, go ahead and make the movie. Because I didn't think they'd do it. I didn't think they'd be able to. But sure enough, they did it, and I think they did a great job for a low budget flick.
Oh my God, they sure did.
And it stays true. It stays so true to the book. That's what I found impressive, was it stayed.
It was very faithful to the, and I appreciated that too. Yes. And plus me getting to be in it was fun.
The man who plays Grandpappy is probably one of my all-time favorite actors. Forward, he was so freaking entertaining. Oh my God, I loved him so much.
Oh yeah, he was over the top. I mean, they nailed him when I don't know how they found him, but
he took that role and made it his own. Let me tell you.
It was so impressive. I couldn't believe it. I thought all the actors were great.
Oh yeah.
Now that guy, unfortunately, who played Pappy. His name is Dick Mullaney. And he died a while back, unfortunately.
Oh no.
But
Wow.
he did a great job, and I got to meet him. I got to be in the shack and everything.
Oh,
that's
Got
cool.
to see the big table where they were humping heads. It was great.
That guy just really went for it. I will say, the gentleman who did all the headers, the actor, he went for it.
The prisoner.
Yeah.
oh yeah, the guy who
Travis.
plays Travis.
Yeah.
A funny story about him is like, I was talking to him and he was talking, he had a Southern accent. I thought, okay, this is the Southern guy.
Mhm.
And so when the movie was over, I said, his name is Elliot. He said, hey, Elliot, you did a great job. And he responds to me in a fucking Australian accent. Because he'd been in character the whole time. He wouldn't talk unless it was in redneck header language. And it completely fooled me.
Wow.
Method acting.
Well, and this is uncouth to say, but several women after seeing the movie have said to me, well, if I ever had to have a header, I'd want it from that guy.
That's how you know the casting was
Now,
good.
that's
Yeah.
how do you speculate that?
If
Right,
I'm
like-
ever going to suffer an unspeakable fate such as that, dear God, let it be that guy.
See, I no,
He wouldn't be awake for very long. I mean, dear God, please don't let me be awake for that. That would be
right, no, but like if it would not be him. It would not be him.
Oh no.
Mm.
No.
Like I think I would have the perfect guy to give me a header.
Personally, I don't think I would choose that in
I
general.
mean, if you had to, if you were like, if you were put on the spot,
and you were like, it's a header
drill
or
to your head. If you had a drill to your head, would you pick?
Choose?
Who would you choose? I can't say mine, but
line them up, and it's gonna be the one with the smallest dick.
nice. I like it though. I like that like option. But wouldn't a smaller one like maybe make you live longer? So like if you had one with a big one, like just go all the way through. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I feel like by the time this has come off,
right?
If you're still conscious,
but it's only a hole. It's not your whole head. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, I guess you could live through that, but so you totally missed it.
Yeah,
while you were gone, we were having a discussion as to whether or not if we were going to get a header, we would want it to be with somebody who had a very small dick or a very big dick.
And if we could choose the person giving us the header. These are the questions that.
Because if it was a small dick, would you live longer? Would you big dick to just take out the brain stem and just be over?
Done.
I would think big would be better. You want to feel it? There it is, baby.
Right. But like I would think like the bigger, the faster you would die, maybe, because the smaller, possibly not. But
well, maybe, yeah. I haven't contemplated it, but you're right.
These are the questions.
These are important scholarly questions that Marian and I come up with.
And would you even still be conscious by the time the top of the skull comes off, or would you have passed out because of shock? Or could you live through that? Like, would you still be awake? Because weirder things have happened.
Oh, yeah,
right?
I would think in some circumstances somebody could survive that, especially if it was a small wiener. But
yeah.
So
Yeah.
originally my first choice was the small one, but now I'm having second.
It's right. You've got to think
all
these
make
things
very
out,
good
Marian.
point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. So, how did you think that up? Because I'm just gonna say, Mr. Edward Lee, that's fucked up.
Well, I don't know. It was we've all heard the old military joke, "I'll pop your eyeball out and skull fuck you."
Yes.
And I would think, well, you really couldn't, because the socket wall of the socket is only that big, so you can't skull fuck somebody doing that. But wait, if you have a hole saw, then you could. And I remember I was trying to get John Pellin had a company called Silver Salamander Press, and he talked about doing a collection of my stories, but he needed a new story for it. So I started writing Header, and that was the idea. I'm gonna have people humping heads. But that didn't pan out, and it turned out to be the Header turned out to be too long for the project. But mainly the reason I completed it is because I was hoping to get a collection out, but didn't happen. So then I have this 20,000 word thing about people humping heads. And so I sent it to Dave Barnett at Necro Publications, and because I didn't think it would get published. I thought it was too outrageous, too offensive, but he bought it immediately. and so I guess that was my first excursion into, extreme horror. The same thing happened with Goon, a novella I wrote called Goon, co-wrote with John Pellin and the Big Head.
Yeah.
I wrote those things. I wrote them just as an exercise, because I was in between. I was writing for mass market companies then, Berkeley or Zebra, and I was in between books, and I thought, what am I going to do? Well, I've always wanted to write over the top, just something, pornographic, over the top horror. And so what if it doesn't get published? It would be an exercise. But they all did get published, and all for the better. And it was really a lot of fun. I kind of, from there, I branched out into two careers I had. I was a mass market paperback horror novelist on this side, and then writing stuff like Header over here, and extreme stuff. So it was the best of both worlds.
I got Ghouls, which I think you wrote in the late 80s, right? 80, 88, 89 maybe was when Ghouls came out. And even that one has some really extreme sensibility to it.
Yeah,
more extreme than you would have seen in other publications at that point in time. Even more extreme than I think what like Jack Ketchum was putting out at that point in time.
Yeah, well, I think of the stuff that I did. People will mention that the over the top stuff I write, but Jack Ketchum was way before me. Richard Lehman, way before, and they were doing stuff that was, I couldn't believe it. I thought, you can't possibly do this, but it's in a mass market book.
Yeah.
And then John Shirley's novel Sellers was really mind-blowing for me. I couldn't believe you could do that. It was like this deep, occult, sexual, urban horror novel when everything else was kind of candy ass.
Absolutely.
So it was very, very encouraging to me.
I actually kind of have, just to veer away from Header a little bit, because this is kind of a perfect segue into like a question / like discussion topic I have. Yeah. Go for it.
This is the first edition of Header. If you can see that.
Yeah.
Just a chapter.
Oh wow.
Look at that. And we're definitely coming back to Header, believe me, because Christina has lots of questions.
Let me show you these why I remember. Here's a comic version of Header.
Now, what year was that?
the mid '90s. It was Glenn Danzig's comic company did some. They also did my story, Grub Girl, which was made into a porn movie.
We've
They did
been
it as,
frantically trying to find it.
I don't even have a copy. It was I sold. I thought I had an extra one, but I remember selling what turned out to be the last copy to my friend Dustin LaValle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And I can't very well ask him back, you know. I thought I had another one, but I didn't. And then another time I was where I used to live in this place called St. Pete Beach. And it was a classy place because right across the street was a company that made porn. And across the street in the other direction was this big X-rated bookstore and video store. So I went in there one day looking for a Grub Girl, and they had it. So all right, now I got a copy. I'll buy it. How much is it? And it was $60. And because it was signed by the main character, whose name was Brittany Sky, I think. Did a great job, but man, her signature made it worth out of my price range.
So I actually found on eBay, there's a guy who has like 5 copies and they're like $30 a piece or something.
Oh,
on
really?
eBay. Mm-hmm.
I'll look it up tonight.
I did not find them. I had a helper help me find them. But yeah, they're on there.
Okay,
I'll shoot you the link. I'll shoot you the link when we're done here.
Please do that. I need a copy of it. And the thing is, it's not a, it's a fuck flick, but it's a good one because it has story where a lot of them don't, and it had some special effects that were cool.
That's my favorite kind.
Right?
And it also, the best part for me, the blast for me, was hearing characters on a screen recite dialogue that I had written in a book. And that was a mind blow for me. I had a chance to, you know who Glenn Danzig is, maybe.
Yeah.
He was founding member of the Misfits. So it's his company that got this movie made. And I had a chance to go. He was doing a show in Orlando, and he called and said, you need to come to this because we're going to have, it's a Grub Girl premiere also, and a lot of the actors were there. But I couldn't make it because there was a fucking hurricane.
No.
It was the biggest kick in the ass. Okay, well, well, that's all about that. But it was, my experience with Danzig and his company was very positive. It was he paid pro rates for comics. He had got great artists, and then he would be daring enough to publish stuff like what I write and some other hardcore stuff by Lucy Taylor or Rex Miller. And he did the I don't know if you remember this or know it. It's a story called The Braille Encyclopedia in one of the Hot Blood anthologies, and it's just the most outrageous story. And Danzig did that as a comic. He hired people to do it as a comic.
Really?
And he paid righteous money to the authors.
That's really cool, though.
Collect the Hot Blood anthologies. I have like 5 of them. I've been trying to get my whole collection going. Now I need the comic book.
I'm trying to think. Header, Grub Girl was first appeared in Hot Blood, and that's
now I gotta go back through my books and see if I've got it.
I was in 4 of them.
Oh my God, I'm going through them tonight.
I don't remember which ones. I did one of them was a collaboration with Jack Ketchum called Love Letters from the Rainforest. And
Oh my
then
God.
another one I don't remember, but interesting little known fact is one of the Hot Blood anthologies came out in hardcover.
Yes, I have it.
Oh, you do?
I do. I do.
What's it called? What's the
It's
title?
the original one. It's Hot Blood, the original Hot Blood. I have it in hardcover with the dust jacket.
Oh, okay. Then I was wrong. So I got one. Number 4 I have in hardcover. That I was unaware of the hardcover releases.
Yes.
But that's cool as shit.
Yes. Actually, I might have several of them in hardcover. I'd have to go through them again and double check. They're all on the top of my shelf where my children can't reach them.
Well, tell them to wait 18 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Think
Christina,
it is.
I know you had some questions about Header 3. You want to ask about that?
I do have questions about Header 3. Can you hold that?
Oh, I'll watch the language. Don't worry.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
it's okay. Our children,
Our
our
mother
children are
cusses so much.
desensitized to this.
Oh my God. I was explaining to her where milk comes from, and she just looked
Wow.
at me and said, "What the fuck, mom?" So
Really? That's
she's
great.
6. Yeah, she's 6.
I mean, I shouldn't say that's great, but that's great.
I know, right? They're house words. That's what I say. They're house words. You can say them in the
Yeah,
house. We can't say them anywhere else.
It's part of the English, the wonderful English language, I'm afraid.
What makes
Yeah,
it
he
so
can hear you.
exciting?
Right?
What's
So,
that?
What makes it so exciting? It
right,
adds
it's taboo.
spice.
Yeah.
It's interesting language on earth. We've got words for everything.
Hey,
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys right?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Sarah.
Can I ask my question?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I learned in another interview that Header 3 started out as a screenplay, but time just wasn't something that you had enough of, and enlisted another veteran of Splatterpunk world, Ryan Harding, which we've talked about, as your co-author and finisher. Header 3 isn't the first time that you and Harding had collaborated. 2001, you had Partners in Chime. 2013, you had 65 Stirrup Iron Road. And in 2017, Header 3. There's 3 questions to this. How did it come about that you asked him?
Well, he was the first one who came to mind. I thought, well, I got to get this ball and chain book out of my house because I got other things to do. So so I asked Ryan, and he said sure. I knew he would do the best job. But it did start out as a screenplay because the guys who made the first Header, they said, well, why don't you do a screenplay? Maybe we can get another one done. So I did a screenplay. It was pretty cool, but there was enough head humping. Nobody's going to put any more money into a movie about head humping.
I don't
I'm
know.
saying that in front of you, saying that in front of your daughter. I'm sorry.
She can't hear you.
Okay, good.
Headphones are back in mine.
But Ryan was the natural choice. He was the first guy I contacted, and he did a great job. And his additions, what he finished for me was very seamless. It didn't you can't tell that one guy's picked up here and one guy stopped off there.
Nope. So speaking of the writing, for the love of Pearl, who wrote the Hawk Party scene?
Which
Oh,
one
that's
I
me.
use?
That's me.
Yeah. Okay.
The Hawk Party. The first Hawk Party was in my novel Minotaurus,
Mhm.
and then I had variations of other Hawk Parties. So there's all kinds of Hawk Parties, and there's I can't say that. But there's other things. There's other things there too. That's pretty cool.
You can say on our show, Ed.
Yeah,
No.
we've said
Okay,
just wait until I repeat some things back to you.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say there's a couple of CKCs in my books. It's a cunt kicking contest.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, I had a bunch of those and different variations of that. That's real literary. I'm real proud of that. That's
Oh,
a big
yeah.
feather in my
I mean,
cap.
one of my favorites.
But,
The Hawk Party took me right back to the Drithilifist from Brain
Right.
Cheese Buffet.
Right.
I did a dramatic reading of the Drithilifist.
Nice.
oh,
A
really?
friend of mine one day, and she could not believe what I was reading to her.
Well, that's outstanding. And I'll tell you the funny story about the Dratifilist is for in the late 90s I lived in Seattle, and I was waiting for a bus. It was pouring down rain. I remember waiting for a bus, and I didn't want to go into the bus stop. They had a bus shelter there that protects you from rain, but there's a guy in there throwing up.
Stop.
So I didn't go in there. And then this other guy, the guy throwing up, he left. And then another guy who had a jacket on that said King Street Shelter, somebody who worked in a homeless shelter. And he goes to the bus stop and sees the vomit, and he takes a piece of cardboard, 2 pieces of cardboard, and scrapes it up and puts it in the trash.
Oh,
But yeah, no, he didn't. But that's where
we can't hear you.
That's where I got the idea. I immediately thought that guy's not going to eat it, is he?
And you're like, just in case, I'm gonna watch.
No, but then I was sitting there in the rain. I was sitting there in the rain giggling because I got the idea for the whole story. I got on the damn bus, went home and started writing it.
Well, and lo and behold, it's a real thing. It's like a
Well, it's really
thing.
not. There isn't. There really isn't. There's other things like that in the psychiatric diagnostic guide. But
Oh, yeah, there are.
I made up the word Dratifilus because I wouldn't have I couldn't research it properly, and I doubt that maybe they don't have a term for that.
We classify it as one of the fetishes that falls under paraphilias.
Okay, there you
but
go.
It is definitely a bodily fluid fetish that does exist. So, yes. Yes.
To me, that is pretty revolting. And I remember one time at a convention in Orlando, a friend of mine, a writer, very good writer named Maheda Bell Wilson, I asked her, well, what are your, what things gross you out? And she said, phlegm. And she says, don't write stories about phlegm. So there was an excuse.
Don't tell me what to do.
The top bullet on his to-do list, write story about man who eats phlegm.
So there's a story behind the Hawk Party and why I brought that up. I read it the first time, and I did not know that I had a trigger, which was spit. And the scene goes on for like pages. And I'm like, I have to put this book down. I typically don't. So I knew that this was a great book for me. And then I kept talking about it and making jokes like, oh, it's a trigger. And now I'm like, is this a new kink I want to unlock? Like, maybe, so you single-handedly took one of my triggers and made it a possible new kink. Congratulations.
I couldn't be happier. Like, that means I'm doing my job.
Am I a spit mate?
I'm like, what? Okay, so now I have to think about header, like who I would have do the header. And now, I can't, we can't hear you, Marian.
You know what? All of my best jokes keep getting dropped.
It's the Christina show today. Oh
It's
God.
like you're sitting there wondering about who you want to have give you a header.
Yeah.
And
Like would
spitting it out.
I let the same person do the hawk and the header?
No.
Well, a bunch of women they like that guy, that actor named Elliot. They were hot for him. He's a he's playing a psychopath, sexual psychopath, and they were hot for him. And one of them was a girl that I had dated at one time. So thanks a lot, baby. Thanks a lot.
Wowza.
Yeah,
They're like, well, if that's all it took.
give her
That's a
a
lot.
header.
That's a lot to unpack.
That's what I was thinking. Well, if you ask for it, Christmas is coming up, sweetheart.
You get a whole drill and I'll get you a party.
Right? It's from the movie. So the last question I have is, and this is a spoiler.
Okay.
Who wrote the Bryce fucking Augie's brain? Hold on, I can't hear.
Say again.
Huh? Sorry, I lost my ear.
I didn't hear what you said.
Which one of you wrote Bryce fucking Augie's head?
I don't remember.
Then blame it on Ryan.
That probably was right.
Just blame it on him. He's not available
Put
for
that one on
consultation.
Harding.
Blame everything on him.
He put good stuff in that book. I mean, you've read Genital Grinder, right?
Oh my God,
It-
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
my
that- I
number
mean,
one
that's-
book. It's my comfort book. Believe that. It is. It's my comfort book. Like when I'm having a bad day, I go and I hang out with Vaughn and Greg.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
knows.
A lot of times people ask me, well, what's a good book of gross out horror stories by you? And I said, well, don't read me, read this Genital Grinder. And that will change your outlook on something.
Yeah, it was my number one book of last year.
Yeah, well, that's great too.
You rolled up into this Zoom meeting with some weird ladies.
You did. Like, yeah, like Genital Grinder is my comfort book. Like, who says that? Who in their right mind
No,
says something like that?
It's priceless. I love it.
Talked about how like you were reading Layman and Zach and seeing what they were putting out there, and you were kind of like, I can't believe that this is actually being published, that this is actually being picked up by readers and people are enjoying this. And I have the same thoughts, especially I was thinking about the time when all of this was coming forward, and you in particular had really started moving towards the over the top extreme. And in the timeline, this was kind of happening at the end of that late 1980s puritanical wave that was like the satanic panic. And
there was a wave, you're right.
And all of a sudden, we get this burst of this new subgenre that is splatterpunk that really, in my personal opinion, not to be grovelly, or I'm just telling it like it is, you're basically the father of splatterpunk. I think Layman and Ketchum, they kind of laid down some stonework, but you're the one who really took it over the top. You gave us the splatterpunk.
I don't know.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I can't take credit for that. That's guys like David Scow and John Skip. They were the guys who brought this new attitude into horror. What I was doing a little later was branching off from that, because like I said, a lot of the first things, the hardcore things I wrote were experiments I didn't think would get published.
Yeah.
Well, the other guys were there first in the splatterpunk arena.
I think
But one thing that people don't, there was some really hardcore stuff also in the mid 80s by Rex Miller and Michael Slade. Both were, Michael Slade is a friend of mine. Rex Miller was before he passed. But these guys weren't just writing gross out. They were writing blockbuster bestsellers. There was a different kind of book, and it's like not the smaller mid-list stuff like I was writing, but those guys sold some numbers, and it was you read Slob by Rex Miller or Ghoul, read Ghoul by Michael Slade. It's like, holy shit.
I think the timing was fascinating because it does come at the end of that like satanic panic time period. And interestingly enough, like I feel like since 2016, I think we all know what happened in 2016, but since then there's kind of been this second puritanical wave throughout American society. And yet over the past few years, we've had this huge boost in popularity for splatterpunk, extreme horror. The more fucked up, the better. Do you think there's a correlation here, or am I just nuts? Like, does this make sense? Like, that this genre seems to have this boost in popularity every time society decides to go like pure pilgrim?
Well, maybe, it may well be the case, but it makes sense. But it is interesting how in a 5-year period, extreme horror went from, fair number of authors to now a landslide of authors because of Kindle.
Yeah.
And the pandemic. Yeah. Everybody got stuck at home. They couldn't do their jobs.
What else can you do is write cunt kicking contests.
She can't hear you. She cannot hear a word you're saying.
Okay.
I have my earbuds in. Yeah, see, I have earbuds in. She can't hear anything.
Good.
Yeah, you're good. You can say whatever you want.
Police are going to come and arrest me for cussing in front of a little girl.
Oh God, if you only knew what happened in our houses.
Lee, my husband is military. So I have to deal with dependas on a regular basis. So they have definitely heard the "see you next Tuesday" word come out of this mouth of you
and dads. Sure, of course.
Mr. Edward Lee, I had to look at my 7-year-old son today and I said, you got to knock it off with the cursing. And he said to me, he looked me dead in the eye and he said, I will not.
That's great.
I think it's fascinating that all of a sudden, we'll go through these times where the more conservative religious ideologies come to the forefront, and there's this other sect of the population that are like, let's read the most fucked up shit ever.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong at this, but the world maybe has never been more fucked up than it is now.
It certainly feels that way since at least the 1400s, right?
So the arts are going to reflect that. They got to reflect the peripheries of reality. Who knows what it'll be like in 10 years? I mean, holy shit.
Were you nervous back when you started publishing books like Header and The Big Head? Did you have any anxiety over putting that stuff out there? Or did you feel like the foundation had been laid pretty strong and you didn't have anything to worry about?
Oh, you mean because of
the content
corrupting young people or some people?
Or getting backlash?
I was worried about that, but I didn't get much, but I got some. But I wasn't worried about it, really. I just, like I said, those books I wrote for fun, for an experiment. But I have had things taken out of books by editors.
Really?
Yeah, like some of my mass market books. There was just one example. There was a scene in my novel Creakers by Zebra, but the editor said, this scene's got to go. So I took it out and I put it in The Big Head. So I get to recycle the things that get kicked out.
May I ask, was that with Leisure? Was it Leisure that did that?
It was Zebra.
Zebra, okay. Because I I had a chance to talk to Brian Keene earlier in the season, and he had said there came a time in like the 90s where Leisure started chopping everybody's stuff up and taking the most extreme stuff out. And that was when they realized that the move towards independent and self-publication was going to have to be the thing, because the bigger mass market publishing houses were starting to remove content.
I don't, maybe I did and just didn't realize it, but I don't think I ever got stuff cut out of my Leisure books. I was told to change some things. That's true.
That's fascinating. I know Ketchum Offspring got butchered pretty hard when it first came out, right? He had to put out like a different version
pissed.
later on.
He was pissed off about that.
Yeah.
I won't say the editor's name, but they cut. There's more cutting on that book than in the book, if you know what I mean.
Oh my God.
More butchery there than in editing than in the story.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
And now you could self-publish it. He could have self-published it and it would have been a classic.
Yeah,
go through all the rigmarole. We would have been like, give us more.
Right.
I just wonder where people ask me where how far does the line go, and I don't know. But now, like you said, with Kindle and people self-publishing, where is the line? I mean, what can't you do? When does somebody step in and say you can't put this in the public?
Well, you know what? That's actually a really great question, because in the intro that we recorded before you came in, Christina was talking about a book that she just read called Spit Mask. And Christina, I don't know if you want to speak to this, but it was the first time where she was like, I don't know if I should recommend this book, no matter how good it was. What responsibility do I have in telling people about
Really? It's called Sick Mask?
Spit Mask.
Oh, Spit
Bill
Mask. Okay.
Baumkamp.
Yeah, it's like 37 pages. And here's the thing, like I said in the intro, it's not a bad book. It's just a book that I had said in the past year and a half, 2 years, I've read over 500 books in this genre.
Wow.
It's one of the first ones that I had to put down because I was completely speechless. You've seen my emails. I am not a speechless gal. I am long-winded.
I guess.
I am very chatty Cathy. This book definitely made me stop and think, why? And I liked that. I want to stammer. I want to question if I can recommend it. I want to have that little bit of.
Also question why, why would people want to read it?
Yeah.
I think that's a good question.
And yet we do. We do.
Yeah, sure.
This whole fan community, as soon as you're like, this is the way it made me feel, and I wasn't even sure if I could recommend it to you, the 500 people who just saw you say that are like, I need to get this book.
That's the recommendation. That's the best recommendation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Go for it.
Here's a funny story along the same lines. When Big Head came out, I went to a convention in Baltimore, in Maryland. I think it was a horrifying convention, and I got contacted by this guy from the Baltimore City paper. He was a journalist, and he says, "I just read the Big Head, and you're because I grew up in Maryland. He would do interviews with authors from Maryland, so." Can I meet you at this convention and interview you? So I said, sure. So I'm there, and he shows up. He's wearing a suit and tie. He brings a photographer with him, like I'm, Van Halen or something. And then he's, he has an interview. It was a great, and it was an interesting interview. Nice guys. And then I get a week or two later, I see the interview and the review, and it was a complete pan. I mean, this guy did everything except pull my pants down. He was like he buried me. But saying that, he said it was something like this. I'm not saying that a book like Big Head shouldn't exist. I'm saying that people who would want to read it should not be allowed to exist. And that, that sold out the rest of the print run.
Yeah.
I mean, that was I mean,
wow.
Dave Barnett called me up and says, all your big heads are gone. What happened? And it must have been that.
The scathing review is sometimes your best asset.
Oh yeah. I'll be more inclined to read a book gets trashed for that kind of content.
Oh my gosh.
I do too. I do too.
Recently online, a young lady who claims to be a reviewer of books took a video of herself burning a copy of Chandler Morrison's Dead Inside.
Oh,
now,
really?
Of course, oh yeah. And because she hated it that much because it was that obscene. And as soon as we all saw that, we were like, he's gonna sell so many fucking books. Because of this one video where this bitch decides to set this book on fire. Was like, that was the biggest favor you ever could have done for Chandler Morrison. Thank you very much. Not that burning books is okay, because it sure as fuck is not.
Mm-mm.
But as far as getting sales, he could not have had a better. He sold so many books. Had to have sold so many books.
That is a unique, really great book.
It is.
And,
it is.
I mean, I can't imagine. I couldn't be happier if somebody burned one of my books.
They're like that. They're like, go ahead and burn my book.
Right? They're like, please.
So cool.
Oh, and then like as fans, we're like, fucking do it, and I swear to God, I will find you and murder you. Like,
right?
Like I'm extremely protective of Morrison because I think he's a fucking genius with his writing and who he is, like who he puts out into the world. And so I saw it, and I have a loud mouth. I had my say, but I'm like, just why do that? He's already got your money. Like, yeah, he's got your money, dum-dum.
It's a great example of how going to the extreme like that and trying to pan something that hard is actually of benefit to the author, because the rest of us are like,
you would think that the critics would know that.
Yeah,
like you're like being an advertising agency for my career. Thank you.
Wait, I didn't have to pay you shit. You literally paid me.
Yeah,
thank you.
Your royalties.
Right.
Half the reason reviews like the ones that Christina and I do resonate with people so hard is because we will sit here and gleefully tell people this was one of the most fucked up things I've ever read in my life, and it was amazing.
Yeah, 5 stars. 5 stars. Ruined my life. Ruined it. 5 stars.
I hated it. You hate it.
I've been in an emotional spiral for 2 weeks. Loved it.
Yeah.
So while Sarah's is gone,
lots of books like that, and we need more of them.
Yes.
Oh, we're getting
them. Right.
When I first read Chandler's book, I was kind of mortified. I thought, what the fuck is this? But it was a great, intriguing book. And then you meet the guy, and he's like such a nice guy, kind of laid back.
Yes.
And I mean, I think that happens to a lot of horror writers. People expect them to be all fucked up, and they're not. They're kind of low key and shit like that.
He's our precious sad boy.
He's our Mr. Fancy Pants.
Yep.
We've been very lucky. We've gotten to interview him twice.
Oh yeah. He's a smart dude.
And he's right? Oh.
Mr. I've written over 50 freaking books.
Oh yeah, but it took 40 years.
God Yeah, but that's like
Hey,
one a
you
year.
know how
So
you know how to pace yourself.
I'm an old man.
Aren't we
so
all?
oh god.
I
Oh,
am an old man.
Right. Same.
Speaking of gross books, I just read a book. I blurbed a book by Gina Rinaldi called. It's a collection called Gush: Tales of Vagina Horror. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Tales of
Yeah.
Vagina Horror. And it's a masterpiece of gross out, and but if you're a guy, it'll kill your sex drive for a year. It's so fucking gross. Holy shit. You gotta be kidding me.
And who is it by?
Gina
I think
Rinaldi?
Gina Rinaldi.
Well, that one's going on the TBR. Oh my god.
I wrote it down.
I think Madness Heart is publishing it. I don't know when, but probably relatively soon, I would think.
We're gonna have to zip off an email to Mr. Baltisberger, see if we can
Well,
get us an arc of that one.
We're
It's
both on
cool.
the review team.
Yes, I
Really?
need it.
We're both on the review on John's review
We got
team.
to
Yeah.
we got to
Cool.
read
That's cool as shit.
I can never say it right. Volatava Clay from Czech Extreme.
Vlatava, yeah.
Vlatava Clay from Czech Extreme. We got arcs of that one. It rocked our world.
I
really?
have a copy of the signed book plate downstairs.
Oh yeah.
You may not know this. You may have not figured this out yet, but we love you. We love you.
Oh, right.
Love me more.
Right.
I don't know if it's possible for us to love you more. Oh my god. That might be pathological.
Could
I
get
don't know if
us.
you want that.
It could be.
We want headers someday.
Could be
If
possibly
I'm gonna get a header, I'm gonna get it from the man himself.
the man who knows what he's doing. Just line us up, okay?
Yeah,
Just line us up on the tables. Have at it.
I'm speechless.
God, I really hope my mom doesn't watch this.
I was hoping that people that women who read Vitala Clay would appreciate it, because it's about. I thought it was a cool idea. You use clay that used to make columns out of and make a dildo.
A
And
living dildo.
Boom, done.
I had a blast with that.
Build people.
Could we possibly have a header clay crossover?
Oh.
Something to think
Good
about,
idea.
you know?
That's
Just,
not a bad
you know,
idea.
throwing out some ideas here.
You got the man gears a turning.
Hey, guess what, Ryan Harding? I'm gonna step in and write with Ed Lee.
Yeah, that's not a bad
Take
idea.
that.
You could have something like that going on in hell. That would be a blast.
Boom. Put that in like a City Infernal situation.
Yeah,
Boom,
sure.
bang, done. There you go.
Headers in the City Infernal. Play headers in the City Infernal. Oh my god.
This is
Mind
you can't get right. Let me go shut the door, because while she's downstairs, I'm gonna take the next question. It's not really a question, but give me 1 second so I can shut the door.
The next section of this is performance art.
Okay.
I believe
Perform
Christina's going
topless.
to treat us to a performance.
I can't wait.
Me neither.
There's
Let's get
nothing
on
better
with it.
than there's nothing better than repeating dirty words back to the authors. So Marian has not heard any of these, but so for vaginas, some of my favorites were.
So these are Mr. Edward Lee's own terminologies.
Yes.
No, not all of them. Some of them I got from guys, Southern guys. When a long time ago, I managed a security company, and we hired a bunch of guys from the South, and they all had these great lines. So I ripped them off immediately.
So some of them, my favorites are, these are for vaginas, honey bucket,
Honey bucket.
Yeah,
panty hamster,
Panty hamster's my favorite. Go away,
whisker
son.
biscuit.
Whisker biscuit, okay.
This one really got me, and I don't know why. Honey hole.
Honey hole, all right.
Box lunch.
Yeah, well, you know, you've heard that before.
I have not. Nope. Nope. Stacked beef vagina.
Wait.
What's that?
The stacked beef vagina from Goon.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. An exploded deli, yeah.
Yes.
Exploded deli.
Of stacked beef vagina. So for cum or semen, as Marian likes to say, these are some of my favorites. Cock snot.
Yeah, that's a something.
Yes.
Pecker
delightful.
snot. And dick
snot.
snot.
Yes.
Peter juice.
Oh, okay.
Pecker loogie.
Yeah, Dick Loogie, yeah, that's a Southern guy telling me that.
Yeah. And dick juice. And then my favorite, Lee's favorite, cock hawk.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like taking a spit, right?
And then from the dollhouse.
It's poetry.
From the dollhouse, pouring the cream.
Stop it.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's a great. Who's that gravy boat over there?
And warm milk.
That's gross.
Yeah, there's some good ones in that. I really like, for breast, I really like the apple dumpling cart.
Dairy wagons is one of my favorite, and I will force my husband to now call my boobs dairy wagons.
As a
and then
currently breastfeeding mother, I really appreciate that one.
Right. It makes sense. It makes sense. And then for one of my favorite phrases, we've already talked about cunt kicking contest, hawk party, and this one, chef's kiss, a dick slit liquor.
No, did I invent that? I don't remember that one.
That one is from White Trash Gothic, I believe.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't remember that one, but I'll take credit.
So I don't have a question. I just never may get this opportunity again. And I had to repeat those words back to you because they will stick with me forever.
Well,
and Mary's about to.
My new favorite one for vagina is sausage closet. I mean, come on, that's pretty funny.
That is good. See, here's the thing. Like sometimes words draw such vivid imagery in my mind that like box lunch is just ruining for me.
You've never heard that
I've
before.
never, and I am 41 years old and I have never heard that before.
I'm over here dying.
I
say this
it's spectacular.
And Ed's like, did I write that? That's genius.
Yeah, that one I know. Dick
slit liquor.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know if I wrote that, but I'm taking credit. That's brilliant.
So I get to say that I said dirty words back to Ed Lee, and I think that is peak Christina in her life. Like everything else is downhill from here. How am I going to top that?
Think up new ones and give them to me. I'll rip them off. I'll give you credit.
I don't think I will ever be able to top cock hawk, sir. Just don't think that's going to happen. Cock hawk. Yeah, like
that is a good one.
Now I no.
Dick Loogie's pretty cool too, I think.
Yeah, but
Pecker Loogie. Yeah.
Cock hawk isn't even just a word, it's like a physical experience while you're saying it. Cock hawk.
Kind of is. It's like somebody taking a spit, isn't it?
It's like
from a woman's point of view, she would see that more vividly than the guy, I guess.
That is correct.
And I think that's why that one got me, was because it was so
Oh my God, I'm crying.
And like, I've heard of Whisker Biscuit before, but
Yeah,
like,
I'd heard that. And
yeah, but like Panty Hamster, that when I read that in the dollhouse, I put it down because I was cackling so hard. I was like,
Good.
that is chef's kiss,
That is a personal favorite. That is.
I'll have
right?
to-
Cock, Panty Hamster, boom, together.
I need more. So
So if the two of you are okay with it, we're gonna take a momentary break, and then we should come back and we should do the rapid fire 4. And Ed, if you have watched more than one episode of this ridiculous show, you know that the next half of this is 4 questions that will come at you super fast and are usually super ridiculous. Are you ready? Shall we do it?
I'm ready. Yeah, let her rip.
Okay, let me take a pause here real quick because we usually throw a shout out to Godless at this point, and then
Hey kids, looking for a way to affordably access the best and wildest independent extreme horror currently in existence? Godless Horrors is the place to be. Go to www.godless.com to gain access to thousands of extreme horror and splatterpunk books from the genre's best and brightest independent authors. Godless Horrors offers every title in their catalog in a variety of formats to ensure compatibility with your favorite digital reading device. Strapped for cash? No worries. Godless has a fantastic collection of free titles ready for instant download, with other titles in their collection rarely exceeding $3 to $4. Again, go to www.godless.com or download the app and tell them what the fuck you're looking for. Come join the Godless tribe today. Forever delightfully deviant. Forever godless.
there we go. All right, so it is time
Oh.
for the rapid fire 4. Christina, tell him all about it.
4 questions, 4 answers, 0 time to think ahead.
We need an answer immediately. This part of the interview, this part is a journey. Okay. Are you all right? Are you ready, pretty boy? Shall we do it?
I'm ready. Stop talking about it and do it.
Okay. All right. You do it first. You go first. Go.
Okay. So
The answer. Okay. The answer to the first question is 12 and a half.
Okay.
Okay. What are the other 3 questions?
Right. So if someone were to write a memoir about you, what would it be called?
Probably fucked up in the head.
The Edward Lee story.
Sick in the head, I guess. Yeah. What's wrong with him?
Why? The
Cock and you.
Story.
Cock and you.
All right, here's mine.
Oh God.
Okay.
Oh God.
So, Mr. Edward Lee, if I sat you, all right, now she has kids that are like, how old are your kids? Like 4 and 5, 5 and 4 and 6,
8 and 6.
All right, and I got a newborn, a 7 and a 10-year-old. So, if we sat you down and put an explosive collar on your neck, all battle royale style, and told you had 30 minutes to write a book for me and Christina's kids, or the collar would explode and your head would blow up, what would that children's book be called, and what would it be about?
It would be this. Where is it?
He came prepared. He came prepared for this rodeo.
That's one of my children's books.
Little Devil Chillers, Edward Lee's book. Oh, shut up. I knew that.
Next question.
It's like,
No,
God.
no.
Oh, which of your characters is your least favorite and why?
That's a Dullsville question. I don't. No offense. It's like, I don't know.
Okay.
I love them
Okay.
all.
We'll switch it up. Who that you haven't co-authored with would you like to co-author with? And I am not an option. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Very busy gal.
Probably Christine Morgan.
Oh.
We've been friends for years. And she's, done some books based on my City Inferno, and they're very cool stories.
Oh, I would die. Oh,
Yeah.
I
That
would
would be
die
cool.
for Christine and
Well, we will someday. Oh, maybe. And here's something about another collaboration. I didn't tell you this, did I? A while back, there was this thing in the paper, and there was a company in Phoenix called Scientific Research Incorporated. And what it was a company that procured body parts for scientific research. And, whatever the legal avenue is for that, I don't know. But then there was this article in the paper about it, and they said the FBI raided the place, and they found all these limbs and severed heads, and whole bodies propped up and
sewn together,
also,
Frankenstein style.
Yeah, but they also found this. They also found like one of those 5-gallon buckets, the painting buckets, full of severed penises. So yeah, me and Ryan are going to write about that someday.
Oh my God, yes. Yes.
That's true, though. I mean, the fucking FBI found this. Can you imagine? They showed a guy in the paper the picture of a guy in a suit with a grim face walking out with a bucket. So that's pretty unique. And okay, there was another guy in I think in Michigan who he worked at a funeral parlor for 30 years, and they wanted, somebody complained, and eventually they raided his house, and they found 3,000 severed penises in jars in his basement. 3,000.
Whoa.
That is quite a collection. That takes dedication.
What do? You look at them like you look at a stamp collection or something?
After a very long, stressful day at work, I like to go down to my basement, just sit and gaze at my penis collection.
Comfort penises. They're comfort penises.
I go home and look at some dicks.
Did he have like ambient lighting behind them? Like
a purple, like a lavender.
Great idea. There's another story.
Like a fancy bar situation, except it's all jars full of penises with like
maybe they were all smaller than his, so then like he could feel superior to the 3,000 penises.
Maybe, I don't know.
I am intrigued.
Whatever, he was a dick collector, and he did it for 30 years, and you were burying people without their penises.
Can you imagine all the ghosts wandering around?
Oh, poor ghosts. Their
dicks.
Oh,
they are like bound to this mortal coil because they tried to cross over and they don't have no dicks. So they're like wandering around the graveyards going, where the fuck is my dick?
3,000 of them wandering around that guy's house.
3,000.
Wowza. That's insane.
Yeah, I want to say it's pretty cool, but it's not. But come on,
it's perfect for like story.
3,000 jars of dicks. That's
amazing.
It's tough to beat.
Like, what's the story behind every penis? Now I want to know. 3,000 stories. I want to know the story behind the penis, the man behind the
It's
penis.
like the 1,001 nights, only the 1,001 dicks. You're a genius.
I'm so, Ed Lee just called me a genius.
All of
I'm
these
done.
dickless ghosts, like wandering the world in agony, waiting to be reunited
Right.
with their penises.
Poor men. Poor men. I feel so bad for
That'd
them.
make a great Tales from the Crypt.
Right.
Okay,
right, Marian.
final question. Final question of the rapid fire floor. This one is the most important. Okay. Edward Lee, is your panty hamster a teddy bear or an angora? That would be short.
I'm incapable of answering that. You win. Press the buzzer. You win.
Right.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I didn't hear that.
Hold on.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Last night, Christina and I were sending pictures of hamsters back and forth to each other.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Because she did know about panty hamster. That was the one I was like, I'm gonna give you this one because I can't keep it to myself. And so then she started sending me pictures of hamsters and
Hamsters?
Yeah.
Now anytime I see a hamster, I'm gonna think of vaginas.
I mean,
so will we, sir. So will
wrong
we.
with that.
you did this, so
Yeah. This is not us.
Oh.
We can't be blamed for this.
Congratulations, Mr. Edward Lee. You've successfully survived the test of the rapid fire 4. Minus the question about the panty
I'm honored.
hamsters. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. This has been absolutely wonderful. Do you have anything that you would like to hype here real fast? You got anything coming up? I
hype
know.
my new book, The Television by Madness Art Press. It's pretty cool. It's probably the roughest thing I've ever written.
That would be true.
It was number 3 on my top 10 list of 2022.
Cool. Thank you.
The very first page itself is a jaw dropper.
Yeah, the first paragraph. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. I was like, okay, so this is what we're doing. All right, let's go. Amazing.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else I want to hype. I will say I'm in the middle of a bunch of novellas, which is a lot of fun. One is coming out from Madness Heart Press soon, and a couple others later, relatively soon. But it's interesting because I've been, I went through a 5-year period kind of where I didn't write much. Other stuff was going on. And then I kind of got out of it. I thought I was burned out. But then I moved into a trailer, by the way. And suddenly my creativity was all ramped up again. And I got the idea for the television because in this trailer I bought, there was a television sitting, an old fucked up television sitting there on its side with no cord in it. So that gave me the idea for that the minute I walked into the place. But I've got a whole bunch of things coming up. I'm not done yet. You don't tamp the earth down on me yet. But,
where's the best place for people to follow for new releases, for upcoming drops, just to keep track of what's going on with you? How should they keep track of you?
Thanks to Brian Keene, he has a message board where now he's opened it to a whole bunch of people, and I have a message board on it, so you can reach me there anytime.
Oh, and yes, I'm on there.
I have a Facebook that one of my publisher at Evil Cookie does, but I'm not really into Facebook. I don't know how to do it. So he does it for me. And if somebody asks a question, he'll tell me and he can answer it for me. But I post news on that. I have him post news. But that and the message board are the main ways. And I used to have this fantastic website that Dave Barnett of Necro Publications made. It was one of the best horror author website I've ever seen. But then poor guy dies, and now the website is still up, but it's infested with porn.
No.
It's like, what the fuck is this?
Oh, we need to find somebody to fix that for you.
People looking at it's like it's not even good porn.
It's not even quality.
It's classless.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
I was just going to hype some of the audiobooks that have come out. Evil Cookie is like on it lately. Family Tradition dropped 2 days ago. Header dropped like last Saturday. And that narration is perfection. Mr. Tilling's Basement.
Yeah, right. I listened to some of that the other day.
I listened to that one. I have Family Tradition. Unfortunately, I didn't get to it in time. But yeah, if they're audiobooks, I have them already. But Evil Cookie is like, K-Trap is on it.
He got them out, and there's going to be an audiobook of the television. I think.
Oh,
soon.
that's exciting.
I think soon.
Oh, that's great. That's
great. These guys are on top of it. They're great.
Mm-hmm.
They're serious businessmen.
Yeah.
I'm in debt to them. That's great.
Oh, Polish Extreme just re-released through Evil Cookie.
Right.
I don't stalk. I don't stalk the Evil Cookie, and I don't buy every single thing that comes out. I don't do that. Like I do.
And always, for more information on Edward Lee, you can always come join us at the Mothers Mayhem official Facebook group. If you ever have questions or you want information and you need help finding it, please come to us. We will help dig up whatever we can. Now that I know that this man actually keeps track of what is coming at him on the Keenaverse, you might not be able to get rid of me now, sir.
We're like herpes. We're not going away.
I would be like, oh, hi, Ed.
That's good. That's okay.
Hi, Ed.
Right.
And
so hey,
in our Facebook group, you can also find links to the Mothers of Mayhem merchandise store, the ultimate fan community reading soundtrack playlists on YouTube and Spotify. And we will always be there to provide exclusive info, content, giveaway opportunities, plus so much more. As always, you can send your questions, comments, pictures of dildos for Christina, and memes of my mortal enemy, Zach Baggins, to our email address, momextremepodcast@gmail.com, or you can just DM them to us or drop them on the group feed, because we love that. Just
love the dildos on the group feed for me.
Don't get us all banned. If you are listening,
it's always a good time, Ed.
It's a fun time, Ed. If you figure out Facebook, you should come join us because it's the rodeo. If you are listening rather than watching on the YouTubes, visit our Anchor homepage. Leave us a voice message. You might be surprised to hear your own voice bleeding at you through your favorite podcast streaming services in an upcoming episode. This content is an exclusive bonus only found on our uploads to pod streaming platforms. It's a lot of fun. So definitely take advantage of that. And finally, thank you once more to singer-songwriter Amigo the Devil for allowing us to use his song Hungover in Jonestown as our theme. Until next time, go raise some hell, children.
Make your weird book mommies proud.
Yeah, Mr. Edward Lee. You were amazing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You girls kick ass.
Life is a joke, and death is the punchline. Oh, la 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 la.